Hey, welcome to me and halfy's podcast, fam. Thanks for tuning in. So, how you been? Thanks for coming out.
Cheers, bro. Thanks for having us.
So today we're going to talk about goal settings.
Yep.
And how to accomplish our goals. Like, how did you start off doing goal settings? Like, how do you accomplish?
I mean, there's lots of different ways that you can go about accomplishing goals, in my opinion. I think one of the first things to do that's really important is to define what it is that your goal is.
Yeah.
You know, if you've kind of got a bit of an idea about what you want to do, but you're not sure exactly, you need to first sit down, write a little list out of what it is that you're hoping to achieve. Because if you don't know what you're hoping to achieve, then it becomes pretty hard to achieve it, because it's just all over the place. So I think the first step in goal setting is to have a clearly defined goal.
That's it.
So that you know exactly what it is that you want to achieve. Yeah. Obviously that can change over time and that can become different, but you need to start with a reasonably well-defined goal.
Yeah. And
then you can define that down further, and once you know what it is that you want to achieve, then you can start putting in place what it is that you need to do to make that happen.
That's it. So how can we accomplish that? Do we just write it down on a piece of paper?
That's definitely a good way to start, like writing lists, writing out what you want to get done each day. And I think besides your major goal that you're trying to get done, you need to have mini goals as well. So once you sort of define what it is that you want to achieve, and you can start making a bit of a list, step-by-step list of what it is. For example, if you want to get an album made, you can't just expect to have the album done. You know that you've got to get into the studio, you know that you've got to get maybe a producer, you've got to get these different elements of that goal out of the way so that you can achieve the final goal. So you've got to, I guess, make mini goals. And then achieve those. Because another thing with goals that people put into place is they get a bit overwhelmed, I think, sometimes because it's such a big thing that they're trying to achieve. And when you break that down into small, more manageable bite-sized pieces, then it can be a lot easier to achieve those little pieces and put the pieces of the puzzle together to get the bigger picture.
That's it, man. I try and accomplish so many goals, but I've got too many great ideas. How can we break it down into category to start off small with smaller goals? What do you reckon?
Well, I think self-motivation is a massive thing with goals. So I think developing ourselves in a certain way where we can self-motivate and create that type of momentum to be able to achieve smaller goals. For example, you might have a huge goal, but rather than going straight after that straight away, you could start setting up your day in a way where you get up, you write your intentions for that day, you write your intentions for that day that you're doing, so that you can start achieving small things. Because when people, like I was saying before, when people have too big of a goal, it can get too overwhelming, and then the whole thing just comes to a standstill.
People fail though.
Well, that's the other thing as well. Like with failure, it's not necessarily failure. It's a learning experience.
That's it.
Yeah, and so you basically got to give up giving up.
Give up giving up. Okay. Giving up giving up.
Give up giving up. So when you come to a point in your journey along trying to achieve what you're trying to achieve, and it does get a bit hard and things do go wrong, because let's be real, in life things are going to happen, and it's not always going to happen exactly how you want it to happen. It can be a little bit defeating and demotivating to want to continue on it. But that's when you really got to go, alright, that's alright, that didn't work how I was planning on it happening, but that's okay. And just keep going on it. Start back at square one if you need to, and start back from scratch and keep going with it. So morning rituals and morning meditations and stuff like that are so important, so that you can set your day up to have a good day.
When you wake up, make your bed.
Yeah, when you wake up, make your bed, maybe clean your room, do a little bit of exercise, do a little bit of affirmations if you want, just to tell yourself it's going to be a good day. Yep, that's right. Start the day off right, so that everything else happens a lot easier. Like you're saying with, making your bed. If you've got a messy room, it's generally because you might have a bit of a messy mind and it's hard to keep on top of things. But if you do have a messy room, then you've got more things that you need to deal with. Whereas if you've got all those basic things out of the way, then it leaves more space in your mind and energetically to be able to focus on those other bigger goals that you want to focus on.
That's it. So start off small by like making your bed, cleaning your room, cleaning your unit. I look after your hygiene, make them your personal goals. Don't think of high, big great ideas, eh?
But it's still good to keep those big, great ideas in your mind and understand that it is going to take those steps to get through to them. And another really great motivating factor is to tell yourself that you can do it. Because so many people, they want to achieve things, but they've got self-defeating ideas about life, and so they go, oh, I'd never be able to do that, I couldn't do that, it's too hard, it's too big, it's too much. And when you tell yourself all these negative things, it starts to get hardwired into your subconscious brain. And when you hardwire that type of stuff into your subconscious brain, then you start putting up mental blocks, which become physical blocks, which become things that are going to stop you from actually achieving what it is that you want to achieve. So another really, really important thing is to be able to keep that self-motivation going, is to tell yourself that you can do it. You got to create and build that feeling of self-worth, that feeling of motivation through continual work as well. And sometimes, you'll start getting the ball rolling and you'll be doing this and you'll be doing that and you'll be doing another thing, you'll be doing another thing. And that can sometimes get a little bit overwhelming, and you could have a bit of a crash and, everything comes to a standstill. That doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that you need to take a little step back, take a rest, have a breath, and then start again. Maybe not from scratch because you've already done a fair bit of stuff, but start building those things up again. Because when you've got too much on your plate, for example, if someone was to say, they've got a big project and they write a list, because lists are really important. But if you write too much down on the list and it becomes too big of a thing to deal with, then it's gonna be a bit overwhelming and you're not going to be able to do any of it. So that's why when you're starting out with building motivation, it's great to start with little pieces every day, and making sure you do that little bit every day for a week or something, and then after that week, you add a little bit more on. Or when you feel ready to, you add a little bit more on, so that you can build that momentum and you don't put too much on your plate before you're ready for it.
Famous slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady wins the race, that's right. And you can build that momentum piece by piece, and the more you get into it, the more you can do, the more energy you've got.
Alright, cool, man. So how do you start off with your day? What do you?
So the way that I usually like to start my day, I like to start my day from the night before.
Okay.
So list writing is really important.
List writing.
Yeah. Writing stuff that's achievable, and setting out what you feel like you'd like to get done the next day before you go to sleep. So you might write a little list for when you go to bed, and if you want to start out with small pieces, it could be like make my bed, make breakfast, things that you're going to be able to achieve, so that you can tick that stuff off the list and go, yeah, sweet, I got that done, and that gives you more energy.
You feel like you accomplished something, eh?
That's right.
Even though you haven't travelled the world, or some people have goals they want to travel, but I find it hard to do that because they don't have the financial. They don't have finance to back them up to go travel the world. So just start off with little goals, eh?
Yep. Start off with little goals that are achievable. Once you start achieving those goals, add more on top. So the way that I start my day, I get up. Sometimes I'll start the day with a cold shower straight away, just to wake me up and get that going. I do a little bit of breathing. Wim Hof method is what I do, type of breathing technique that I use.
Okay.
And
you want to demonstrate?
Well, I'll talk you through it a little bit. Do you know what diaphragm breathing is?
No.
So your diaphragm is the bottom of your stomach.
Okay.
So you breathe into there, up into the chest all the way, and then just let it drop. So you're not, and then just let it drop. Yeah, so you're not forcing it out, you're not doing it slowly either, you're just letting the air escape as it does. After doing about 30 or so breaths like that, you do one more big one in, let it drop, and hold. So where the breath lands is where you hold it, and you hold it for as long as you can. But if you want to check out Wim Hof breathing, Wim Hof method, there's heaps of stuff online. You can search for the Iceman as well. He can actually hold his, not hold his breath. He can stay in an ice bath for up to about 2 hours without damaging his system, because he can control his autoimmune system. So obviously, people like you or me shouldn't start off with doing 2 hours in an ice bath. I've done 2 minutes in an ice bath, and I think that's achievable for most people, and that's really good for the body. But there's heaps of videos on YouTube and stuff online to find out about the Wim Hof method that you'll be able to get a better rundown. That was just a very, very brief, very, very brief little bit.
Cool.
A little bit of exercise. I do the 5 Tibetan rites or rituals, which is a yoga regime. It takes about 25 or 30 minutes.
So what do you do in that?
Well, there's 5 sort of positions, I guess. The first one isn't exactly a position, but it's spinning. The second one, I'm spinning clockwise.
Spin around, or?
21 times. Yep.
Cool.
And then the second one is laying on your back and having the legs come up and the head come up a bit, and then slowly coming back down.
Like you're going like that.
Yeah, kind of like
Stomach
almost
crunches.
like similar to stomach crunches, except the legs are coming straight up.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Okay. That's like a bit yoga.
Yep. Yep. The third one is on your knees and sort of bending your back like this, and then coming back up, doing that 21 times. You can also find this online, the Tibetan rites or rituals it's called. Then the third one is sitting with your legs out straight and your back up. Sitting with your legs out straight and your back up and your arms behind you, and then you push up and push the legs out to make a table position with your body and legs.
Planking or?
Not quite, like a reverse plank almost, because it's with your chest facing up instead of your chest facing down.
Do you do push-ups?
I do planking actually.
Planking?
Rather than push-ups, I like planking.
Yeah, that family does planking.
Planking's good. Planking's really good because you can just hold the position. So you can hold it for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 4 minutes is the longest I've been able to do a plank for.
You like to give us a demonstration how you do it?
Well, it's pretty straightforward really, the planking. But you can leave that.
Alright. Yeah.
So you just form, and you got to keep your stomach tight.
Alright.
And then you just hold that position for as long as you want. So
cool.
It's all like that, actually.
Yeah, I got to try that out.
And it's a good one because you can.
You're not putting any strain on your legs or back.
You're not putting too much strain on your legs. There is strain on your back though.
Oh, okay.
But you don't need to. I don't know. You just need to hold it and put the timer on and see how long you can go for.
Yeah, give it a go. That's also also helps you with your stomach.
Yep.
It's good for your stomach and good for your back and neck.
Yep.
Yeah. So you got anything for your leg exercises? Or?
Yeah. So I learned this from the Wim Hof method as well. Actually, it's the horse stance.
Horse stance.
So you kind of put your legs out like that, and it seems like it's really easy, but try doing it for even just a couple of minutes, and you'll really feel it in your upper legs here. To make it a bit more flowy, get a little bit of Tai Chi type stuff happening with it.
Yeah.
But it's the horse stance, and then the fifth position for the 5 Tibetan rites or rituals is basically a salute to the sun.
Alright.
And the salute to the sun is breathing in, reaching up, breathing out and forward, and then coming down, kind of like a plank almost, but coming through it.
Alright. band.
And then back, you can hold any of those positions in that for longer.
Awesome, man. I'm gonna try it out, man.
You do 21 of those. I can send you a little thing with
on YouTube
with the 5 Tibetan rites on YouTube.
Cool,
for sure.
Man.
And yeah, it's really good to start the day with a little bit of exercise because it energizes your body, and energizing your body helps to energize your mind.
And I think I need a bit of that before. It's good when you go to bed too. Do you do it before you go to bed?
I usually not straight before I go to bed. I usually do a bit of breathing exercises before I go to bed.
Yeah.
And
so that same breathing technique you
or maybe Wim Hof.
Wim Hof.
Yeah.
Wim Hof.
Yeah.
That's what they do with the didgeridoo when they start, is it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've seen a video on YouTube.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure.
That's how when they practice the didge, they do the Wim Hof exercises.
Yeah, okay.
Like, when you mentioned it, I saw a video yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So, like with you, you live on your own or?
I live with friends.
Friends, yeah. How's that?
Yeah, it's good. They're really close friends, so they support me. I support them. You know, we get along well. We've got good communication, which is important in any relationship. To be able to have good communication, so that everyone knows where you're at. You know where they're at, and you can be more empathetic to anyone's situation.
That's part of goal setting too.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. So, like with your list writing down your goals, how many goals do you normally write down?
Well, it depends what I've got to get done. So I'll usually start with a little bit of a list for the week.
Alright.
Like the things that I want to get done for the week.
On a Monday or a Sunday?
Usually on a Sunday.
Right. Okay.
And then each day that evening, I'll write a little list for the next day.
Okay.
So what I'm going to get done that day and what I want to achieve. And it's also good to have times where you don't have to do anything. You just let it all go and you just go with the flow and enjoy. Although the morning ritual stuff is always important because it starts the day off right. Whenever I start the day with breathing and exercise and maybe some positive affirmations, I always have amazing days those days. Okay. When I don't do it, it's not as great generally.
Alright.
So I always feel better when I do that stuff.
Alright. Well, I think that's about it.
Yeah. And once you sort of achieve some of those goals, you'll be able to. It'll be motivating. It'll give you confidence. It'll give you more motivation to want to achieve more because you've realised that you can do what it is that you want to do. Mm-hmm. So I'd say to recap, define what it is that you want to achieve. If you don't know what it is that you want to achieve, it's nearly impossible to achieve it.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got a huge goal, that's fine. Break that goal down into smaller, manageable sizes so that you can go about achieving each step along that to get to that bigger goal.
Yeah.
Because if you've got a huge goal and you don't define the smaller steps, then you're running around like a chicken with its head cut off. You don't know, you don't know where you're going.
That's where I'm at the moment. I'm running around with my head cut off. How can I get that mindset?
With continual work and self-motivation. So, like I said, small pieces and daily small pieces.
Making your bed.
Yep. Start off making your bed. Start off telling yourself how the day's going to be. I'm going to have a good day.
Do the housework around the house.
Yeah, whatever it is, could be that stuff. It's good to have that stuff done because then you can, then you're like, all right, there's nothing I need to do. Now I can focus on what I want to do a little bit more.
That's it.
So small manageable pieces and building that momentum up. So so starting every day.
Yeah.
I'd like to give you a challenge of doing like 21 days or even 30 days. But 21 days is supposed to be the time frame that you can sort of build a habit, turn something from having to work to do it into just more of a habit.
That's it.
So 21 days of waking up in the morning, saying something positive about yourself, saying how you want the day to go in a positive way, and maybe 5 minutes at least of exercise.
Putting good habits.
Yep. Yeah, so you get those small good habits going and it'll build more bigger good habits. And once you get those good habits rolling, it'll make it easier to do and accomplish other things as well.
All right, well, there you had it, folks. Setting goals and accomplishing them. I want to say thank you, Halfy, for coming out, man.
Cheers, MC Chosen.
Thanks for coming out to Banyo Library.
Yeah.
So, that's the little boy, Halfy. I'll be posting this up on YouTube and Facebook. And yeah, I want to say thank you for coming out today.
Cheers, brother. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man.
Good luck with it.
You too. All right.
Just kicking back at Banyo Library Station, just placing our faith in this truth that we're making, and whether or not it's like our mind's eyes naked, and that's the reason why we pile on these placements and tasting the right type of the test that we got. It's like nevertheless, we never lost the best spots that we've got in our own perspective, directing this next expectation to just select it. And I don't even mind if it isn't perfect. It's like I'm gonna get it rolling when I get it correct. It's like every single moment I'm holding the gold and tunes that I've been cruising with. That's what I told them, and even though I never would have sold them my soul yet, like the devil coming to get this, just never forget that this has gotta be the right type of the reason. Believing in the truth, like every single season, it seems to change and rearrange with your brain waves. Whether or not we got this on the daily, mate makes some mistakes, but I don't mind, cause I got a dope mind. When I'm gonna go find, when I got the gold like these golfers, they don't rhyme, and if they do, well then they cruise with their putters underneath the shit. Like they gotta go in the gutters when it rains down. When it rains, it pours. And of course, I'm going through, and I never need to pause. It's like all of these people with their chords applause. It's like another second just to check on it all. I check with the mic, check direct, and then form another second. The section of lines that I was born to spray today, or the places that I may chase for the moment that I'm going into the day that it's great. I check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Halfy.
Yeah, boy.